Welcome to part two of my interview with Big Trouble Ben Bishop. So Ben, we've spoke about a
Yeah.
lot. As I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast of part one, it's been 4 years since our first interview, and we've talked about the highlights of your videos. But I want to know what have been your proudest moments in your wrestling career so far.
Whew,
We've
man,
talked
good
about Jeff
question.
Jarrett and AW,
Good
but
question. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, those were great. And I will preface all that by saying this is that like I think that as wrestlers we do lose because all of our main goal is to get signed, right? And we don't want to come off as marks, right?
hmm
That's like the worst thing a wrestler wants to come off as. And I think that mindset really robs you of your joy at times where you need to sit back and say like, look at the cool shit I'm doing. Like, and my wife says that to me a lot. It's like, you're doing cool stuff. Stop worrying about if you're going to get signed. Stop worrying about people's validation. You're doing cool stuff. And that got lost to me for a while where it's like, when am I going to get signed? When am I going to get signed? And like, but I was doing cool stuff. So like some of the stuff I've been proud of, I think we spoke about it, like stuff with Barstool, working with Brandon Walker, getting to go to the headquarters. Not a lot of people get to do that.
hmm
And I got the opportunity to be on a few shows, be on Barstool Radio, be on a few podcasts, and that's awesome. Like, and
Grimm's
I think
Toys, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, we did stuff at Grimm's Toy
Yeah,
Show. We did stuff
yeah,
at Invictus
yeah.
Wrestling as well. And that's just stuff that not a lot of people get the opportunity to do. And that was really cool. I kind of did it myself. Like it wasn't like I had somebody link me up with Brandon Walker or anything like that. It was just kind of all organic and it just kind of happened that way. Um, Getting to work out with DDP. I've
Oh,
gone to his
nice.
house a few times and got to work out with him. Do like I've always done like the DDP yoga stuff. Or I should say DDPY now. He's very particular about his brand. So DDPY. And that's been amazing. Cool. That's another cool thing I got to do. Get to be in two WWE 2K commercials. You got to be on Young Rock. That came from wrestling. Um,
What was your character on Young Rock?
oh, I was just wrestler number two in a battle royal. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I was on like episode 10 of season three, like and then it ended. But it was the Pat Patterson episode. So it was like a Pat Patterson was in the battle royal. It was the battle royal I was in.
Yeah.
But that was awesome. Getting to travel to new places, getting to, meet guys and work with guys that I've watched on TV. I mean the list, it's a good list at this point. Like I can rattle out like Matt Riddle. You could say like Alex Hammerstone, Fandango, Heath Slater, Chris Masters, Steve Macklin, just like a whole list of guys. I know coming up, AJ Francis, of course, just had a match with him. Coming up, I have a match with Nick Nemeth, which I'm
Oh, yeah,
like
in two
super.
weeks, isn't it?
Yeah,
This
2 weeks, two
yeah.
weeks from tomorrow, which I'm super stoked about. I can't believe it's coming up that fast. But it's just like that cool stuff. Meeting a lot of cool people. Making you make
Mm.
it making a lot of friends, um, and just have an ability to really showcase my creativity, which is always something I've always considered myself a creative guy. I never knew how to really hone that, or like and it's I've also getting to act in my first movie, like an independent movie that should be coming out this year. I had a cool role in it as a villain in a rom-com. It was my wrestling character, but as like a real like piece of shit heel. So it has a
I'll bet
wrestling
you love
component.
that. I'll bet you
It was
love it.
amazing. It was like a rest. It was a re The movie's not about wrestling, but there's a wrestling component to it.
Yeah.
So it's not like a wrestling movie. It was a rom-com. The love interest, the male love interest was an independent wrestler, and I got the ability to just be me. And it was just such a cool experience because a lot of the people on set were just saying like, dude, you really got a knack for this. Like this seems so natural to you. And it's like, have you ever taken acting classes? And I'm like, no. Like I just kind of, I figure like I'm gonna act like myself up to 11. Like
hmm
it's kind of easy, right? Like it's like a beginning actors for dummies. Like I'm just gonna be myself. Let's be Big Trouble Ben Bishop, but as a heel. And I kind of took like basically for the character, it's like I took inspiration from like Biff from Back to the Future and like Shooter McGavin. So you can think of like that type of like
Yeah.
comedic like brash heel. And I can't wait for it to come out. I'm really hoping it comes out. So we filmed it back in September. So, it's an independent movie, so it's not like it's all the glitz and glam of Hollywood. But it was cool being on set with just people who are just so passionate and how hardworking they are for like something that you might not make any money at all, right? But it's like they're doing it because how much they love it and how passionate they are. So that was really awesome to be around and do. And it's something I actually want to continue doing. I loved it. I love doing some acting. Um, and it's something I'm going to try to pursue more moving forward. But yeah, it's just like I really try to be as grateful for what I've been able to do over the past few years, and because a lot of people can't chase their dream, a lot of people won't because and it's not no, I don't blame them for it. It's hard. It's hard to put yourself out there. It's really difficult to say like I'm going to go chase something that has a low success rate. We'll be honest. Doing anything in entertainment has a low success rate. And when you first start, everybody supports you. Every on that ride, everybody, when you first get into it, everybody wants to hitch their wagon to you and be like, "Oh, you're doing something so cool! Like this is so cool." And then things start to plateau. Like, a
Yeah.
couple months go by, and it's like, "Oh, well, you're still doing this. Oh, it's still a thing. Oh, it's."
Yeah.
And it's in that, and that's when you really got to understand. It's like I gotta just keep going, gotta keep going, you gotta keep motivating yourself. It's like, hey, you're getting no's, you're getting no's, you're getting no's, nothing's happening, and no one, and all of a sudden you see kind of the support start to wane, or you see people kind of questioning why you're doing it. And that's when you really, like, that's when the motivation has to really start kicking in. I tell a lot of people that who start wrestling, like, yeah, your first wrestling match is gonna be great. You're gonna have friends and family, and everyone's gonna come out and tell you how awesome you are and how great you are. But then 6, 7, 8 months go by, and now people are telling you, you're not that good. You got to work on this.
Yeah.
You got to do this. Nah, we're not really interested in you. We don't want this. That's when you really got to kind of start to dial it in. And it's really hard. And the people that make it, honestly, sometimes the most talented people don't even make it because it gets to the point where and I got to this point where it's like you just want to call it quits
Mm.
because it's just like it's
What's
not
the point?
happening. You're not
Either way.
happening. What's the point? What am I doing? I'm spending weekends away. I'm investing in my character and myself. I'm trying to get new gear, this, that, and the other.
Mm.
Um, but a friend of mine told me, because he's involved in entertainment as well, and he's done some acting in movies, but he says, the people that make it are the ones that just stuck around. It's not always the ones who are the most talented. It's the ones who are there. So the best ability is availability. And just to be available and be the one that's sticking through it and is persistent enough to continue going, that's what the most important trait to have. It's not being great in the ring. It's not being charismatic. It's the fact that you're still there when so many people want to not be.
No, I respect that, mate. It's sort of a follow-up to what we discussed in part one, where we were saying about the Twitter trolls don't really understand what you guys, doesn't matter where you are at in your wrestling career, but what you all have to put into this journey of being a professional wrestler, the sacrifices, the dedication, the hard work. It's not me brownosing, but someone who's spoken to over 200 wrestlers now at this point,
Hmm.
and okay, I have now developed a little bit of an understanding of what it is you guys truly do and put.
It's tough, man. I mean, it's the driving, it's the flights, it's the in and out of airports. People are like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you're traveling so much. That's great." I'm like, "I'm traveling. I get to an airport. I sit around the airport. I get on the airplane. I sit on the airplane. I get into a car. I drive to the building. I sit at the building for 6, 7, 8 hours. I go to the hotel, maybe get four hours of sleep, get back, get 6 a.m. flight, back out next day. So it's not this glitz and glam thing. Restaurants aren't open, things aren't open. A lot of people, a lot of the Twitter trolls, what they want, they want to demean what we do, right? They all of a sudden you're an indie wrestler. Oh, you're a loser if you're on the indies.
Mhm.
Like, dude, we're doing something. Like we're actually trying to chase our dream while you just want to shoot it down because you're too much of a coward to chase your dream. You don't want to do it. And so the easy way out for you is to try to shit on people, bring them down, and so that they'll maybe quit too and they'll be in the same boat as you. And that's what people want to do.
Yeah.
That's their main motivation. They're so miserable with their life and they have nothing besides an internet connection, which they shouldn't be allowed to have either. But that's all they have. And they just think that if I can take go to Big Trouble Ben Bishop and I can just rag on him and I can tell him how much he sucks and how much he's wasting his time, maybe he'll quit and then he'll be in the same position as me. And I can know at least that guy's not doing anything. But you know what? Sorry, folks, because this ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. I'm never gonna quit because of somebody with, you know, and I don't follow shame. I don't follow or shame because I think that's stupid and it's low hanging fruit. But if
Yeah.
somebody that with no actual picture on their profile, I've never met in real life, has actually no bearing on me whatsoever on my life, personal, social, financial, anything, is going to try to tell me that I suck at wrestling and think that's going to make me upset and ruin my day, buddy, you got another thing coming.
Fuck them. That's what I'm
That's
gonna say.
it. That's the easiest way to say it. Yeah, fuck them. For lack of, if too long didn't read, yeah, fuck them.
No, man. Honestly, yeah. There are some good fans out there. Just so you know, there are good fans.
No. And I mentioned that a lot, dude. I say the IWC is great. There's a lot of great people, and I always give the IWC shit, but it's not. I think the internet wrestling community, majority of people are awesome,
Hmm.
but it's the small, loud, vocal minority that is the ones that really bring people down. And it causes a lot of wrestlers to delete their Twitter, it causes a lot of wrestlers to have mental challenges, and be in a bad mental space because these people are vultures. Like if they catch you saying either the wrong thing or something, they will jump all over it and they will pile on. And that's something I hate. I hate the piling on because now people all they want to do is get some likes. It happened with the tweet I had about 99% of people don't watch wrestling, which is true. They don't. They don't care about it. They look at the world population. Look at the people that watch wrestling. Like especially well, at least in the US, there's 330 million people here and maybe 3 million watch wrestling. So what I said was true. 99% of people don't care. That's why the WWE does stuff with like Travis Scott and Logan Paul and bringing in people that are more mainstream
Hmm.
for that reason. But
But they don't want
wrestling.
to do the math. They just hear, oh, not everyone likes WWE, so fuck him.
They're like, yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, this wrestler's saying that no one cares about wrestling. I'm like, didn't say that. I said 99% people don't watch
Yeah.
wrestling, which again is the truth.
Yeah, it's
So,
selective hearing,
you
isn't
know
it?
what? But you know what? That's the thing. And I've heard from somebody before. You can't expect people to assume context because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, and that's not something that I can't assume people will understand what I'm trying to say. So it is what it is. When you live your life on the internet, when you're chronically online like I am, unfortunately, it's bound to happen. So it's something now I've realized I got to just learn to live with, and it is what it is.
Nah, mate, you're smashing it. You're absolutely smashing it. I got a fun question for you. Doesn't have to
Oh,
be
please.
this one, mate. So it's something I've introduced since we last spoke. It's one of my famous questions now. Three dream dinner guests for your dream party, past or present, can be fiction, non-fiction, anyone. But I want three guests and I want a quick reason as to why you want them there. Give me the first guest, Ben.
Does it have to be wrestling?
Nope, it can be that.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, first guest would be George Carlin.
Three.
I think George Carlin is one of the most brilliant minds,
Yeah.
especially in comedy. I'm a big fan of comedy, as you could probably tell from the videos. I grew up watching a lot of old videotapes that my dad had of George Carlin. So that would be number one. I think he's one of the most fascinating, interesting human beings on the planet. Number two would be Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Because growing up, I was always a huge fan of his in all of his movies, and I just think his outlook on on life was amazing, and how he just like lived to make people laugh. And then third would probably have to be Chris Farley. So I think that kind of tells you where my head's at
I
with who I'd like to
fucking
have
love
dinner
Chris
with.
Farley. People get surprised when I say that.
Another guy who's just intriguing.
Yeah.
And just the way people speak about him is like I don't know if you watched SNL 50, but like when Adam
The
Sandler
Adam
sang the
Sandler thing.
song,
Yeah.
Adam Sandler sang the song, you could see him tear up, and
Yeah.
like you just know that like, and everything I've seen about him is that he lived to make people laugh,
Mm.
and unfortunately that was kind of his demise as well. But that was his thing. He just wanted people to have fun around him.
Yeah. But he also
If
wanted
I
people to like him as well so much. Like he
exactly
was down as a person,
that
but he would always hide it with his comedy and
exactly.
his
But it'd
action.
be it'd be it'd be interesting to talk to him and ask about like kind of why he thinks that. Like why does he feel the need for that? Like what is his like what is it that really that motivates him every day to do what he does, and why does he feel the need that he has to always be the life of the party?
Mm.
And it's interesting. And all three of those guys are geniuses in their own right. If I had to pick one for wrestling, it would be Brody Lee, by far. And what really hit me about him, I didn't obviously know him, but James Ellsworth, who trained me, was close with him. And what really was interesting, and also tragic when he passed away, was, nobody talked about, and he was a great wrestler, so don't get me wrong. I don't want this to be misconstrued of me saying wasn't a good wrestler or wasn't remembered for his wrestling. He
Yeah.
was great. I loved watching his stuff. But it's just like nobody said anything about his wrestling. Like that wasn't important. What was important was like every time he walked in a room, people loved him. There was no one had one bad thing to say about him. There was no like, yeah, he was a good wrestler, but it like what people say about like Ultimate Warrior, right? Like
They
it's like,
dedicated a
yeah,
whole DVD on him. Although that
he
was
was
live,
it's like
but
he was an
still.
icon, but
Yeah.
you don't want to speak ill of the dead, but people do. So, but Brody Lee, everybody just said like he was everybody. He wanted to have a good time. Like that way, you know what? He's like he didn't take things too serious, and he took his character serious, but himself, everyone said in the locker room he was the guy everybody wanted to be around, everybody wanted to have fun with. Um, and he was just like an honorable guy, trustworthy guy. But he just wanted to have fun. And I think, and I love that. I want to be remembered as that. I don't want to, I don't care to be remembered as, oh, this great technical wrestler. Like, I don't care. Like in the wrestling, I want to be remembered as like somebody like that,
Mm.
who's like, remembered for being just like a great guy, because there's so many pieces of shit in wrestling. There really is. Like there's so many people that are carnies, people that will stab you in the back, and this, that, and the other. That's what I want to kind of create, even though sometimes my videos, they poke fun at people, but I want to create just like a fun atmosphere. People see me at shows. I'm the first person to, want to have a laugh with somebody. We can joke. We don't have to take ourselves too seriously. Anybody that sees me at shows, I try to be as friendly and personable and open with everybody, no matter who it is. If it's a top indie star, if it's a former WWE guy, if it's a current AEW guy, or it's the guys setting up the ring, or the technicians, the sound guys, the cameramen. You just want to have fun. I just want to have fun with everybody because we should be. We should be. This is what it's supposed to be. We're
Yeah.
supposed to be having fun. We're not supposed to be taking this too serious. We're supposed to be loose. Like what are like now, like before I used to be so tense before coming out for a match. Like, oh my God, I'm like nervous. I'm nervous, right? Now I'm just like, you know what? I'm confident enough in my ability. Like, let's go out there and have fun. Let's go out. That's it. Like it's supposed to be. Like, let's go to the art. Like, let's have fun with the crowd. If we mess a move up,
Let's get
whatever,
them
dude.
thumbs down. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably know that we messed up. They won't know. Like
No.
we might know, and we'll talk about it. But like, let's just go out and do our thing. And you know what? And if you do it and you go out there and you have the confidence and you have the charisma, that's going to shine through to the crowd as well. And they're going to feel that and see that, and they're going to have a good time. I go in there. Sometimes I have matches. I don't really do much. I don't do anything. But people be like, "Yeah, you had a great match." It's because I bring them into it.
Yeah.
Because I include them in it. I include them in the experience of the match, and that's what they want, especially on indie shows. At least, I'm not talking about like TV or anything like that, but on indie shows, people go because they know it's more intimate and they want to be included. They want to be part of it, and that's what I want to do for them because they pay their hard-earned money. They're bringing their kids, and they just want to have a fun night and escape from life, and so that's what I think. That's what I want to be remembered as. I want to remember as like, being a good time in front of the crowd, with the boys in the back, whatever it may be. That's kind of the legacy I want to leave.
That's a great answer, mate. Honestly, I love that. Love that. If we was to discuss basically if I was to bring you back in another 4 years, what would you have liked to achieved by then in the next 4 years?
In my next 4 years,
Yeah.
okay, so that puts me at I'll be 35 on Monday, so that puts me almost at 39. Um, so man, I mean, easy answer, right? I want to be signed. I'd
Yeah.
love to be signed by a major company, whoever it may be. I actually recently turned down one company. I don't like publicizing it, but
No, that's fine.
it was something that it just wasn't going to work. I think the world of the company, timing, financials didn't really work out the way I wanted to. So it is what it is. But I really want to work to get like a really solid contract. Obviously with WWE or AEW, or TNA, I think it could be if it works out the right way, I would really like to work for a major company in the next 4 years. But again, I take everything day by day, GB. I really do. So like I'm not somebody. I used to be the guy who like counting, like when am I going to get signed? When am I going to get signed? This, that, and the other. But no, at this point, it's about let's have a good time. It's a fun hobby right now. I get to do some cool stuff. I get to interact with people online. I get to have a creative outlet that I never had before. And that's something that really I'm happy about. So and so when people ask me like, what are your goals? Like, what do you want
Yeah.
to do? I just want to be remembered as a guy who likes to have a good time. Like, like that's my goal. I don't want it to be, I don't want to get to the point where I'm old and crusty and like, just feeling like why am I still doing this? I just want to do it as long as I can at a pretty high level, I'll
Yeah.
say.
That's it, right? And the fact that you're now in that position where you can actively say no to other
Yeah.
offers, and that's what you've done now in the last 4 years, and you've got yourself in this position where you've done so much, and you're taking it day by day, and the sky is still the limit for you, mate. I know
That's it.
I know you're
I'm
pretty.
pretty close. I'm pretty close to the
I
sky.
was
Yeah.
gonna say, just a quick reach, you'll be there. Uh, Mate, you're
No, I
absolutely
thank you, man. And let me say this to you is that, I appreciate all the nice things you said to me, but you were one of the first guys to really give me an outlet to talk about myself on a podcast, which is very cool. Not a lot of guys would reach out to indie guys only about like a year or so in.
yeah.
So I really appreciate you. I appreciate all the support through the years. You've been there since almost day one. So thank you, man. I'll always remember that. That was really cool of you.
Thank you, mate. That honestly means a lot. And just to follow up, I know we said at the beginning about me going worldwide as a joke, but is there any chances of the UK fans or anywhere in Europe or anywhere else in the world that get to experience Big Trouble Ben Bishop?
I want to come. The one country I want to come to more than anything is England. And I want to come to
Yeah.
the UK or the UK as a whole. I want to be. I really want to get there. There's had some talks. It's tough. It's a big investment because you got to kind of get there first, and then you got to
It's a long
figure it out.
flight.
You got to kind of, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's not the time. It's just it's the financials. It's like you got to really invest a lot because you got to get yourself there, and then hope you can get enough bookings to back to recoup all that money, which is tough. So I'm working with a few places. I'm trying to figure out to make something work. A buddy of mine, Richard Holiday, just did like a 2 week stint over there, and is phenomenal. Did Progress, Rev Pro.
Mhm.
I couldn't be more proud of the guy. He's probably I think he's in the last 6 months the indie wrestler. Excuse me, over the past 6 months of the
I think he's very underrated. I
I
like
think
his
he
work
I
on
think
the
he is too.
W. Yeah.
The guy works his ass off. So
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen guys like Manders go over there as well. And I've talked to him about it. So it's something that I really do want to do. To do that, get over because it's the one country that I think would take to me the most because I'm not obviously I don't know how I'd be perceived in Mexico. I don't know how I'd feel like I could figure it out in Japan, but yeah, UK, I think that the character of Big Trouble Ben
It'd
Bishop would get
work.
over the
It'd work,
most.
mate.
It
Trust me.
worked the most because I think you guys like having a lot really good times. So,
Yeah.
I would love who I talk to a lot too. Go back and forth with Simon Miller. So I'm trying to work something out. Like I'm here it is, Simon. How about you book me against you for your title at Progress? How about that, buddy? Let's do that. Come on. Come
Called you
on,
out,
buddy.
mate. Called you out.
Let's go,
You just get
Simon.
tagged.
Simon, make it happen, dude. I know you got some pull, dude. So come on, get DT double B over to the UK. We got to make it happen.
Make it happen. Let them fight. Awesome. Awesome. Ben, where can the listeners find you on social media?
I'm simple, man. At Big Trouble BB, all over the place on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Trying to figure out TikTok and YouTube. Trying to get there, but Twitter and Instagram is where you find me the most. Again, folks, I'm an open book, so like you can talk to me, you can send me a message, you can send me a tweet. I mostly respond to everybody that's positive. So I try to that's what the way I want to get over. I want to make sure that I'm connecting with everybody and bringing them into the journey as well. So that is something that I hold dear. So if anybody you reach out, please, like I'm not somebody that's going to ignore you. If I have the time, I'll definitely chat with you for a bit. So you can find me anywhere. So again, like open book. You find me where and what you see is what you get, man. Like I'm not a Big Trouble Ben Bishop might be a character, but it's really just me. I'm Ben. It's my real name, Ben. It's just me turned up to 11. So I have nothing to hide, and I'm somebody that loves interacting, love talking wrestling with anyone. So please engage, talk. Well, let's have a good time.
Awesome, awesome. You heard it from the man. You can reach out to him in his social media handle, which will be in the description below. If you give me a follow on my social media handles, they'll be there in the description below as well. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hopefully one day I'll be able to get Bob Furio on the podcast as well.
Open the checkbook, buddy. Open the checkbook.
Uh, Mate, honestly, I will happy open a checkbook for that man to come on. But thank you for coming on, mate. Everyone, have a great week and take care. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time for What Do You Call It? Podcast.